Hi, welcome to LGTV, and today we are going to start a new series called Channel Surfing. Now this series is going to be about me going through the movies I watched in a month and giving you my thoughts and opinions on. Just a quick, relaxed, not very high edited series, just something I can spurt out to you guys. This one will be within the August and September months, just because I haven't really watched much in September, so there would be only like 3 movies I would talk about. So we're gonna do August and September. No, some of these movies I just watch because I want to review them or never seen them before, or some are just rewatches because I want to see how they've changed or if my opinion's changed on them. So it's all over the place. Some is new releases. Some of these are going to be movies that came out 5 years ago. At the start of the month, I watched Black Widow, and I did not like it. It is not very good. It's probably one of Marvel's most generic, worst written piece of crap. Some of the characters were enjoyable and the story could have been interesting. In concept it was. In the end, it just was a very bland experience that made me just very tired and drowsy watching it. And I gave this one a 1.5 stars out of 5. Next on the list, I watched Ma, starring Octavia Spencer. Yeah, this one's not good. This one could have been a fun, campy movie. But in the end, it was just everything you expect it would be. Octavia Spencer did a really good performance. She's entertaining in the film. She's the only good thing in the film. The only reason why I gave it 1 star was because she was in the film. But other than that, it's just so bad. Not in a good way, not in an enjoyable way. It's just bad in a boring way. I gave this one a 1 out of 5. Next up, I watched The Suicide Squad. Not Suicide Squad, I watched The Suicide Squad. What a pleasant viewing experience this was. This is a really good movie to watch in the theaters with a bunch of people. It's very unexpected. It goes in ways that you don't really expect it to go. The audience doesn't expect it to go. So it's enjoyable to watch with a bunch of audience members. It's funny, it's heartwarming, it's charming, the action's fun. James Gunn just is on a roll right now. And the issue with the movie is the same issue that Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 has, which is pacing. You can tell when it hits, oh, this is going to be the characters growing as a unit scene. Characters learning off each other scene. Now, the Guardians of the Galaxy 1 didn't have this because I think it was more written down by the studio, and in number 2 they kind of let him do whatever he wanted, and same with DC here. I think they just let him do what he wanted to do. So I think that James Gunn just needs to find a better way to incorporate this thing in talking scenes in a way that doesn't drag down the film a little bit. Because if I look back, it's a 2-hour film, but it flows very nicely. It's just certain spots feel a little longer than it does. And I give this one a 4 out of 5. Next up on the list is Free Guy. Free Guy, I originally gave it a 3 out of 5, but I think I'm gonna give it a 2.5 out of 5 now. It's one of those movies where you see it and you kind of enjoy it. Then after that, it kind of just goes out of your brain. Every time I try to think about it and when I really thought about it, it was fine. It's a Ryan Reynolds movie. It's funny, it's charming. I mean, in my view, it's not even funny to me. A lot of the jokes don't hit, in my opinion. I think the stuff that made me laugh was more of the character interactions. Everything that happened in the real world was more entertaining, in my opinion, than the actual Free Guy video game universe. And maybe that's just because Joe Keery and Jodie Comer are really good character actors. And so watching them play these characters as like indie developers that then sold out, it was very entertaining, and it was a good little romance going on there. It got me thinking that this movie kind of would have been better as a smaller budget indie movie about these 2 people that were working together, and one sold out, one got lazy, and seeing them come back together for this little small thing. But instead it's a schlocky. It's a good movie to see in theaters with your family. It's a good family movie. So I'm gonna give this one, as I said, a 2.5 out of 5. Next up, we have The Perks of Being a Wallflower. I always say Wallflower for some reason, and I don't know why, but it's The Perks of Being Wallflower. Of a Wallflower. This one was a very surprising watch. This was of course, like an older movie that came out a couple of years ago, but my girlfriend really likes it, so of course I'm gonna watch it with her. She has to sit through my boring indie movies. And this one really surprised me. I didn't expect to really like it that much. It was entertaining, very heartfelt, and above all, it really gave you the feelings of being a teenager and having friends. The movie, I think, deals with serious topics very nicely and tastefully, other than 13 Reasons Why. And I've seen 13 Reasons Why first before this, and I see a lot of similarities, and it really makes 13 Reasons Why even worse. Like, that's probably one of the worst shows out there. Like, come on. Yeah, and this was just an overall good experience. I think Emma Watson's acting is a little weak in some parts, and you can hear her accent. It's kind of distracting. I'm like, just do the accent. It's better. It's like CGIing a face. Like, we get it. Like, you're trying to kind of blend it into the story and the movie, but it's more distracting in the end because your brain is just picking up like, something's not right here. And oh, I know Emma Watson. I know she's British, so I can kind of hear that coming through. And some of the romance parts were annoying. The whole, oh, they love me, they don't love me thing. It's cliche, but I still enjoy it. It was still really enjoyable and touches your heartstrings a little bit. I give this one a 4 out of 5. Next, I saw Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, which you can watch the review of on this channel. I thought that was way better than Black Widow, especially with the action. Amazing choreography, amazing action. I really hope this director does a lot more work in the MCU. And the characters are really charming. The actors do a really good job of actually acting and playing a character. Some of these are not very well-known actors in North America. They do feel like characters here. They don't feel like Scarlett Johansson being Scarlett Johansson or Chris Hemsworth being Chris Hemsworth. I feel like that's Shang-Chi. The flaws are with the story. Like, I feel like Marvel is really still struggling with how to break out the formula. And I understand they want to stay within that formula because it works, right? They're making so much money. And like, who am I to judge? I'm not making the money they are making. But in my opinion, I think it's a more enjoyable experience when scenes make sense on being there. Especially the first act of this movie, you can take the whole thing out and write it in a way that moves the story a little bit quicker, so we can actually get to the place faster and we can actually flesh out the characters a little bit more. Here, it just feels like it's at a snail's pace. This movie feels longer than Endgame. Endgame feels a lot more shorter, in my opinion, than this does. But it's a fun movie. It's a fun one to see. These are all very fun, schlocky movies, and I'm hoping to see more smaller movies like Last Night in Soho. That's coming up soon in October. Movies like that feel less high budget and schlocky. I'm hoping to see a lot more independent and personal films in the upcoming year. And I gave this one a 3 out of 5 stars. Next up, I watched Malignant by James Wan. I think this movie let me down. I heard super positive reviews about it. It seemed like everything I want. A very Sam Raimi, campy, schlocky horror film. And I love those. I love that type of genre of horror. You know, James Gunn did a really good job when he used to make horror movies too with that kind of stuff. But this film, I think, falls flat. I think people are just more missing out on those type of movies during the pandemic, and going out to see a movie like this, they're like, oh, what? This is so unique and fresh, when there's millions upon millions of movies that are a little bit more crazier and wild than this, but people are praising it for that. The movie is not bad. It's not bad. And I get what they're going for, and I can see why people enjoy it. It's just that I think they could have done so much more. And if you're gonna go that far, and just stay in the middle. They're staying in the middle. I need to go outside to really execute the premise. I really appreciate the gore. It's nice not seeing a PG-13 movie, horror movie all the time. So this is nice and refreshing. The thing is, people are like, oh, this is not really a horror film. It's kind of like blah, blah, blah. But okay, then why do they spend so much time on setting up a horror set piece and setting up a killing? And for it not to be very creative, and it's just the whole purpose is if that's supposed to scare you and supposed to cause tension. But it's just, there's no tension in the movie at all. You're not scared for any characters dying. You can care less. You kind of want to see them die in a creative way, but there's nothing really creative here, to be honest. Some of the shots are cool. Some of the action scenes at the end are really cool. It's just so, yeah, it's not good. I gave this one a 1.5 out of 5. I also saw Horrible Bosses, which I've seen plenty of times before. This is for a comedy class that I'm taking in school. Yeah, it still holds up. It feels like a TV episode in a good way. In a way that, it just feels like you can sit on your couch, shut your brain off, laugh a couple times, and then go on with your day. There's no conflict, really. There's no huge conflict in the movie. There's no tension. You're not going to be like, oh no, are they going to make it out of this one? Are they going to do it? No, you're there to kind of watch a comedy movie, and I think it does a good job of being that. Being just a comedy movie. It doesn't do more, doesn't do less, which I usually hate. Movies that just turn off your brain, but I think this one does it just so well that all the actors are putting in all the directors, you can tell, is trying their hardest to make everything funny. Even if not every joke lands, there's still really good jokes that do land very well. And I gave this one a 3 out of 5. I also got to watch When Harry Met Sally for the first time. I love this movie. This is a great movie. I can't believe I've never watched this before. I generally don't like rom-coms, but this movie is a very Woody Allen approach to romance and the romantic comedy genre. I love that kind of stuff. Very well written, and it feels like a play almost. Doesn't feel like a movie, but I'm saying this is a good thing. It feels like a play. It feels like you're just sitting down and watching these people's lives, which is perfect for what the film is about. It's funny. Billy Crystal is hilarious in the movie. The chemistry of the two actors are very well done. For what the story goes for, the characters feel exactly in place of what the story wants and what it needs. So if you haven't seen this movie, I would say go watch it right away. This is a classic that I somehow have never seen, and I'm really happy I saw it. I'm gonna give this one a 4.5 out of 5. The last movie I watched was Vacation Friends with John Cena. And whoo boy, this one's bad. This one is a good correlation to how to do a comedy movie to how not to do a comedy movie. Horrible Bosses is very fast-paced and all the characters have something to do. Vacation Friends has no pace and nothing for the characters do. It feels like a grown-ups. It feels like exactly what Vacation Friends, right? Like they go on vacation, they do all these wacky stuff, but it just doesn't matter. It really doesn't. It's not funny. So you got that out of the window. There's no story. There's literally nothing to this movie. It feels like again with the Horrible Bosses, like a TV episode. But this one's like one of those ones that goes on like CBS or CTV that no one watches. This movie's very overlit. Like, this feels like a very first film that this director did, even though it's not. Yeah, this one's bad. I'm gonna give this one a 1 out of 5. Yeah, and those are all the movies I watched within August and September. It will now be just 1 month. I just did not watch a lot of movies this month because I just started school again, so got a little behind on that. I'm really excited for October. It's Halloween, right? Let's get all the scary movies out. I'm hoping to watch that new Halloween movie and Last Night in Soho, Venom 2. They all look enjoyable, at least. They don't look boring. It seems like this will be a more entertaining movie month. Yeah, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. If you want more of this stuff, let me know. If you want less of this stuff, maybe you don't like, maybe people don't want to watch this. I don't know, we only get over like 15 views, so it doesn't really matter. No one's watching it except me. I hope everyone's enjoying the content that we are making, and we hope to make more. This is LGTV, signing off.